Good morning, everyone. This is Audrey Boissonou. Oh, no, this is Mortgage Pros 411. I am Audrey Boissonou with my co-host Kevin Casey, and today we are joined by wonderful Megan Anderson. How are you, Megan?
I am good. I'm so happy to be here.
We are always so happy to have you here. Just a reminder, Megan is part of the MBS Highway team, and she is also a social media AI expert, and she is going to enlighten us today. But before we get into that, a few announcements. Just want to remind people that we are part of the Chrisman Media collaboration that is happening with Rob Chrisman and his son Robbie. So we're the origination portion of their lineup, and they have other offerings during the week with other subject matters. So to know what is on and when and who and why and how, and probably not all that, but anyway, something like that. Check the Chrisman commentary every morning. Also, Summer Camp, California Association of Mortgage Professionals is coming up August 4th through the 6th. You can get free CE. That would be continuing education in case you are unaware of that little acronym. And also they have some speakers like Rob Chrisman and Brian Levy, who've been on our show very recently. And we are going to have the insurance commissioner. I am looking for your input on not just in California. This is the California insurance commissioner that we'll be talking to, but I am looking for ideas of how to fix this insurance mess, not just at the state level, but at the national level. This is a problem all the way from here to the Midwest. They always talk about, oh, it's just the coast. It's just where there's water. No,
It's
it's where
not
there's tornadoes. It's where the insurance costs have skyrocketed all over the country. It's crazy.
record
So,
losses for the insurance industry. So as much as they're gouging us, they're losing on the back end. So
well, right. Okay. So I've had a very, very recent look into this. So I need to get my front bumper painted. Okay. So I start getting quotes. Guess what the first quote I got to paint a front bumper that's in perfectly good condition?
wait, and why is your front bumper banged up? Who you been smashing into?
Okay, I've banged into absolutely no one. So I have no idea why it needs to be painted. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen ever. But regardless, $2,500 was the first quote I got to
What?
paint a front bumper. I was then schooled on the fact that like some of the paint is like $180 a pint, and then this other thing that they put on is $1,000 a gallon, some ridiculous thing. Anyway, bottom line is the inflation that we've seen in the last few years has made its way into the components that make up everything, right? So here we are. I need my front bumper painted, and you're going to quote me $2,500, which, by the way, if this were an insurance claim, guess what? That's part of the problem. Is if you look at our inflation numbers, a big part of those inflation numbers are the car insurance has gone through the roof, and I'm getting a glimpse into why that is. And so everyone is getting their little piece of the action out there, but the costs that are coming out of it are insane. So with that being said, um, we've got to do something about insurance, not just home, but also car and other things too. So,
I know.
I
You gotta
know.
tell us the story.
So Tony's like, seriously, what did you hit? I'm like, I swear to God, I didn't hit anything. All of a sudden, it just started peeling off for no apparent reason. So I'm innocent. I'm innocent. I
Feel proven
wish to
guilty.
God it was an insurance claim. I do, but it's not. So again, we need to come up with some out of the box ideas. And I've said this on meetings that are at a national level, and I get crickets. Nobody's interested in thinking about this, but we got a big problem. The insurance companies are over it. They're not going to subsidize all this anymore. And we got to come up with a different solution. So if you have any brilliant or not brilliant, any ideas at all, I'll take them, because we might be able to take something from one and add it to another and come up with something. Please let me know. Audrey at mortgagepros411.com. Looking for some ideas on how to fix that mess. So with that being said, we also have a few little reports coming out this week. So today,
A
the
few
Fed,
little ones.
today and tomorrow, the Fed is meeting. The Federal Reserve, that little entity that drives all sorts of things regarding monetary policy and the economy in this country. They're meeting today and tomorrow. when their meeting concludes tomorrow afternoon, they will announce whether or not they are raising the rates or lowering the rates or doing nothing to the rates. And at this point, the expectation is for nothing tomorrow, but we'll see. And then Jerome Powell will give his statement. The press conference, they'll issue a statement. So it's all very, that can drive the markets depending on what he says, doesn't say what the market thinks he should be saying. So there you go. The expectation is we'll probably have a drop in the Fed funds rate at the September 18th meeting, but probably not tomorrow. But sometimes they like to surprise us, right? And then we also have, by the way, just because that's not enough, pending home sales, ADP, and then Friday, my favorite, BLS, also known as the BS jobs report. So anyway, so it's a big week, kids. I mean, we get a little break to breathe on Thursday. We don't have anything, but other than that, meanwhile, the 10-year is at 4.17 last time I looked this morning. So if
4.17.
I
Wow.
know we've had huge improvements in that, thank God. So I will take a breath at this moment, and Miss Megan,
Nice.
tell us
So,
what you're going to teach us today, and let's take a dive into that, shall we?
yes. Well, let's quickly just kind of recap the news. Friday is going to be a huge day. If you guys are part of the MBS Highway family and you watch our morning update video, you will know that, the Fed has two goals, right? Price stability, AKA inflation, which we've seen moderate from some high levels. But at the end of the day, is not going to get to their 2% goal. It is a long game that it's going to have to be to get there. So what is going to push them is that unemployment rate, right? And we've seen it tick up to 4.1%. And, we'll see what happens. I love that you called it the BS jobs report, because realistically, it has been. We do get a look at the job picture, more of kind of finger on the pulse with the ADP report coming out tomorrow as well. So that can give us kind of a clue into what we can kind of expect for Friday. But, as far as the Fed is concerned, they're going to come out tomorrow with their rate decision. We don't think that anything is going to happen. We are in the September camp as well, but these things can change. And, thankfully the BLS jobs report is after the fact, so that's not going to get accounted into it. But it will be interesting to see if they get any questions as far as, what does the employment picture look like in the US? We have been seeing, yep.
Yeah.
It's been trending higher. We have the SOM rule, which is like a recession indicator from a previous Fed member came up with it. That's been triggered. Things could be different, but we'll just have to, wait and see.
Well, also interesting because 16 out of 19 of the Fed members did not expect to see an unemployment rate of more than 4.1%, which we hit last month.
Yes.
They don't expect that number to move this month again, but the idea that
if it does,
the unemployment rate is at its max right now is a little impossible for me to believe. And the other thing that was really interesting, that since we're going to talk about jobs and employment and the Fed, is the QCEW issued their Q4 2023 numbers and confirmed that the BLS grossly overestimated their job gains by 261,000 jobs in Q4 alone of 2023. That's 87,000 jobs a month. And that is just the birth death model that they were guessing. Let's just go with guessing, because that's really the right word. So, I mean, I feel like any of us could have just pulled some random number out of a hat and come at least close to what they were coming in at. So I find these numbers very frustrating. I'm frustrated by the fact that excuses are made and that they're continuously so flawed. And so if you have a number and that moves markets that is flawed to this degree, why on earth are we still following it, listening to it, looking and again, the market, shame on you. Why are you even responding to it? Like, it should not be a market mover, yet it is. So with all that being said, it is a big week, kids. A big week. So just hang in there and do not get greedy. Do not think that you have more to gain than to lose. You never know. So just really keep a watch out and focus on loans that are not quite as rate sensitive.
Yep. And watch our morning update video every single morning to keep you in the know. We know you guys don't have all the time in the world to read all the articles and newsletters out there. So that is definitely helpful. But shifting gears of what I'm going to be talking to you guys about today is something that I have been very curious about probably the last year or so. And that is artificial intelligence. And unless you've been kind of living under a rock and not in this world, you have heard of artificial intelligence. And I'm curious right now of everyone that is on the call, find that chat box and let me know if you are utilizing AI right now and what you're using it for. I'm very, very curious. And meanwhile, while we watch that, I'm going to go ahead and get my slides pulled up here. All right.
Just a little reminder that if people go to our YouTube channel, Mortgage Pros 411, which we know there are a few episodes that are not quite up there yet, our YouTube helper, not helper, he's the guy who does it. He got COVID and he was really sick. So it was, and then you know how that goes. You're down and then you come back and then you're busy and you know, blah, blah, blah. So they'll get up there. Don't worry. But Megan did a really, really great, I don't remember when it was.
Yes.
Really great walkthrough step by step of how to use some of the basic Chatgpt, et cetera, back. I mean, it was months ago, maybe even almost a year ago, but
it's so simple. I was able to use it.
Right? I mean, what does that tell you, people? So give it a shot because it's not so hard. And sometimes it's really helpful. Okay.
Yes, and that one was specifically, if I remember correctly, I really went through step by step on how to create content as far as marketing, utilizing a combination of Canva and Chatgpt, which we will lightly cover in today's session, but that's going to be more of an in-depth, step-by-step follow along with me. What I'm teaching you today is essentially how to communicate with large language models. So, you know,
wait, whoa. What the hell does that mean? What is a large language?
A large language model is essentially like the Chatgpt of the world.
Okay, thank you.
It's just said another way. And in order for you to get the output that you're looking for, I'm sure many of you have gone in and played around with it. A lot of you haven't, but you know, a lot of you are using it. You're using it for marketing right now, crafting emails, text, searching information, realtor presentations. You know, you guys are using AI a lot right now. A lot of you are. So congratulations on that. Today, my main goal is to get you comfortable with communicating so that you can ultimately get better outputs. So let's dive into it a little bit more. At the start of this, let's just cover simply what is AI. Well, AI is essentially taking machines like computers, right, and giving them the ability to do things that we associated with human intelligence. So being able to read body language, like Kevin right now is super interested. He's looking at the slides right now. He's heavily involved in this, right? We can tell. And Audrey, she's smiling. She's happy, right? She's laughing a little bit. These are all human qualities. But guess what? AI can do the same thing. If you go to ChatGPT and say, hey, what am I feeling right now? And give it a picture, it's going to be able to tell you that you're happy, that you're upset, whatever the case may be. And that is just the beginning of what this technology is going to turn into. And it can be really confusing, especially if we didn't come from a background in technology, which I didn't come from a background in technology. But the way that I kind of like to think about AI is you can think about it as it's kind of like this alien out there. You know, we know that it exists. We don't really know what it can do or where it came from or what it looks like, right? But then we have all these different platforms, and there's so many different AI platforms hitting the market on a daily basis that it is so easy to get overwhelmed before you even start. Now, today, we're going to be talking specifically about ChatGPT. And if you haven't yet, I want you to get out your phone right now. I want you to go to the App Store, and I want you to download ChatGPT. Listen, they are forecasting that you're not going to do, Google searches anymore. It is going to be attached to these GPTs. And this is how we are shifting into searching the world. It's not going to be the same here in a couple years. And it is so important that we learn to utilize it. But when you go to the App Store and you download ChatGPT, that essentially has a mask on it. So the mask that comes right out of the box, if you're going to go to ChatGPT and say, hey, you know, write me an email for everyone that attended the open house last weekend. Well, the face or the mask that's going to be on that is kind of your friendly assistant, right? Whether it's male or female, they're there, they're the smile, they have a good attitude most of the time. They're waiting for you to tell them what to do and they're going to get it done. That's great. And that can accomplish 90% of the things out there. But, you know, imagine that you have a platform that you're utilizing to help you with your investments. Well, do you want that mask to be that friendly assistant? No, you want it to be that money hungry stockbroker that's out there to squeeze every little profit that they can out of that transaction. And it's important to understand these masks when it comes to communicating with these large language models. So if you haven't yet, this is what the logo looks like. Download ChatGPT so that you can follow along and do everything that we're going to do here today. And when we talk about AI, it kind of seems like it's this new thing, but it has been around for a long time. In fact, back in 2019, Google came out with Project Euphoria. And I get kind of emotional when I talk about this, but I want you to imagine for a second that you get terminally ill. You lose all control of your motor function. And now you can't tell your kids that you love them anymore. You can't have a conversation with them, but your mind's okay, right? Your mind's fine, but you can't interact with this world. And growing up, my grandma had Lou Gehrig's disease, and this is what happened to her. And I watched her. I watched the pain. I was a kid. I didn't really know what was going on, but I could tell that she was in her right mind, but she couldn't communicate with us. And I saw the pain and the struggle. And I wish that they would have had something like Project Euphoria. We've all seen this, Stephen Hawking's, right? He had the ability to communicate with us. And I get really excited about AI in the healthcare industry, but it is going to be doing major things to this industry as well. You know, I just got back from the Housing Wire AI Summit, where I got to listen to C-level executives about how they are incorporating AI in their business and where they see the future of it going. And it's going to be incredible. I'm telling you, we are on the cusp of it changing our industry. But AI, it started all the way back in the 1950s, and it started at a conference, believe it or not. And then in the 1960s, that's when we got the first AI programs. And then the 1990s came around, and this is when it expanded to data mining, you know, being able to take information from the past to use it to be relevant to making decisions today. And then in the 2000s, this is when we had the breakthrough in deep learning. And again, if you don't come from a background of this, it can be hard to understand. I always like to relate it back to what I do understand, which is the human body, right? And if you think about it like the brain, we have different neural networks, different synapses, and they fire to, you know, get us to different thought patterns and things like that. That's what happened in the 2000s. Then we have 2022, and this is when ChatGPT launched to the public. And then a little bit after that, you know, now you can't turn on any news station without hearing about ChatGPT or AI in general. So what about in our industry? How is it being utilized currently? Well, it's being used for automated underwriting. You know, people have been able to cut their staffing down by 70% utilizing AI technology. Marketing, you guys in the chat comments right now, right? You're using this right now to help you with your marketing. And then when it comes to market analysis, this I get really excited about as well. You know, those of you that are on MBS Highway, you see every day how we read the different candlestick patterns, the different channels that we're in, the levels of resistance, right? But with AI technology, now it can be searching all over those social media platforms, the Substack threads, the Reddit threads, to really get into the psyche of how the population is feeling and use that as far as market analysis. It's going to be a game changer. And what are the top people out there saying about AI? Well, here we have the CEO of Google stating that AI is one of the most profound things we're working on as humanity. It's more profound than fire or electricity. Now, that's a pretty bold statement, right? But then we have the CEO of NVIDIA saying AI is the most powerful technology force of our time. And I got to tell you, I 100% agree with this statement. And then we have the CEO of OpenAI, which is ChatGPT, which we'll be diving into today, saying AI is the most important transition in human history. I don't know about human history, but in our day and age, where we're at right now, I think this is going to be the greatest technological advancement of our lifetime. And we need to learn how to utilize it. I love this quote by Robert Greene. He says, "The future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways." And this is the way that we need to think about this, right? It's another tool in our toolbox. And if you thought that you were going to get away with not learning how to utilize it, I mean, you get statements like this every other day. JP Morgan says every new hire will get training for AI. You know, people ask me, the number one thing that's always asked is AI going to replace my job? At the end of the day, no, but someone that knows how to use AI will take over your job. Yes, that I firmly 100% believe. And so, how do we start to get curious about where we can use AI? Because you're not alone. Listen, if you've been wanting to start utilizing it, but you don't know where to begin, you're not alone. That was me about a year ago. Okay. So, how do we analyze our business to determine where we can incorporate AI? Well, there's a few steps. First and foremost, we need to identify our business processes and pain points. So, what is it that you're doing on a day-to-day basis, right? Marketing, prospecting. And if something comes to your head right now, go ahead and jot it down. After we identify our pain points, we need to evaluate and research AI solutions. Now, I'll tell you, I do this for you, and we'll get into that here in a little bit, but that's the next step. And then from there, we need to assess readiness and pilot it on a small scale. I want you to think about AI as kind of like your CRM platform. If you get a CRM platform, but you don't have any contacts to add into that CRM platform, is that going to be beneficial to you? No, it's the same thing when it comes to AI. You have to have the data in order for it to extract and give the output that you are looking for. And then once we do that and we test it on a small number, well, from there, we continue to scale and optimize. The thing about AI is it's not you give it the information once. This is a continual evolution, just like, a child or a doctor, right? If you go to the doctor, do you want to go to the doctor that went to med school 30 years ago and never picked up a book? Or do you want to go to the doctor that is continually looking at what is the latest and greatest out there and reading the research? It is the same kind of thing when it comes to AI, and that's how we need to be thinking about it. So let's start off with point number one, identifying our business processes and pain points. Let's say our main processes are marketing, sales, prospecting, and relationship building. And now we can dive in deeper to those by identifying our pain points. So let's say specifically, I have trouble with marketing. I tend to notice that when times are kind of slow, that's when I'm really great at being consistent with social media and marketing. But when I get busy, forget about it. It could be 3 to 6 months in between a post. And if you relate with that statement and that is you, go ahead and let us know in the chat box so that nobody feels alone. And so let's say that's my problem. And I narrow it down even more when it comes to the fact that, I'm just not that great at creating content. And, I don't have a problem being behind video, but when it comes to editing that video, it's not going to get done half the time, right? These are moments and times where we could ultimately use AI to help us. So we're going to evaluate and research AI solutions. And we mentioned this. I really recommend that you go to the YouTube channel and find this one that I did, 3-6 months ago, where we do a deep dive in how you can take Canva, which is creating, content for social media, flyers, whatever. Canva's amazing. You should just look into it anyways. Utilizing that and Chatgpt to help you in creating static content. And long story short, essentially what you can do is and don't feel like you have to take pictures of this. I'll share with you guys how you can get this step by step so that you don't have to, go back and look at your pictures on your phone. But it starts in ChatGPT. So we go to ChatGPT and we say, this is the prompt that we're going to give it. You are a loan officer. And listen, we put loan officer in here because remember that mask that I told you about? This is putting on that mask that you want it to wear so that you get that better output. And we will dive into this in deeper detail. But you are a loan officer who is humble, professional, and funny. And good thing it doesn't care about my spelling errors here because I tend to have a few of them. Your main objective is to create social media content to build your brand and generate leads. Create 10 home buying tips for first-time home buyers. So it's going to do that, know your budget, location, location, location. Don't skip the inspection. Consider future needs. Great. In a matter of 2 seconds, it gave me a list of 10 home buying tips. Now, let's say that, I don't like number 4. Well, great. I could just say these are great, but I don't like number 4. Can you come up with something different? And once you get it to where you like all of the tips, the next step is to have it put it in a table format. It will put it in a table format. From here, you're going to take this, you're going to copy and paste it into an Excel sheet, and you are going to save it as a CSV file. And again, we do this step by step in a previous video that I did with you guys. You'll save it as a CSV file, and that is when you go to Canva. And within Canva, you're going to pick out a template that you like. Okay. And then we just match the data. And within a matter of, the first time you do it, it'll probably take you 5 to 7 minutes. But once you get in the habit of doing that, you can bust this out in a minute or two. And it's going to give us 10 pieces of content. So now we don't every day have to wake up and say, oh my gosh, what am I posting today? Right? Now you can set aside an hour and get it done for a couple months and not have to think about it again. And it'll have your brand colors. It'll have everything that you need to get out there and be consistent when it comes to marketing. Now, another thing that I really like to use it for is turning any article into a video script. And here's a few things, though. You do want to use an article that you trust. We are going to get into kind of some of the downfalls of AI, and it is important to understand those. You have to understand how it functions to understand where it might fall short. But, let's say you're reading the MBS Highway blog, and we come out with a blog a couple times a week, and you're like, this would be really great to put in a video. Well, it can be really hard to take an article and condense it down into a 30, 45-second video script. But AI makes it really easy to do so. And again, I will share with you in just a second on how you can get these prompts so that you guys can get in here and do this yourself. So this is going to be a combination of 3 prompts. So again, you're going to put on that mask, trying to grow my social media by creating short, compelling videos. I'm going to provide you with source text. Do not perform any action until asked. Please let me know you understand. I love being able to do this because it allows me to continue to feed the AI platform the information that it needs to generate the output that I'm looking for. So it'll say, yes, I understand, give me the next step. So this is where we're going to post in that article. And then this last prompt is kind of the money of it all. Using the provided source text, write a script for an educational and informative, and this could be anything. Maybe you want it to be funny, right? You can change those words out for whatever tone of voice that you're looking for. 45-second video. And again, that could be anything. Maybe you want it to be 15 seconds, 90 seconds, whatever the case may be. If you're doing things like YouTube shorts, Instagram reels, TikTok videos, you honestly don't want those any longer than 45 seconds. I would say the sweet spot is between 15 to 35 seconds. Now, keep in mind that the video script will be read out loud and not shown on the screen. And this is the big part right here. What I'm doing right here, and we will dive into this when we get into the anatomy of a prompt, is I'm essentially giving it an example. I'm saying, hey, a good output to me would look something like this, right? And whether you're going to use AI or not, I really recommend that you follow this kind of format. We want to start off with the hook, right? Because the main thing that we're trying to accomplish when it comes to creating content on social media is stopping the scroll, right? We are bombarded with so many messages and insight that at the end of the day, if I'm going to actually stop and watch a video, it's because I know within the first couple seconds, hey, this video, I'm relating to it, right? So we want to attach our target audience in with that hook. And then the next thing that we want to do is we want to discuss the problem. So they know the video is about them. Now we make them feel heard by discussing a problem that they're experiencing. And then we discuss the solution and we have the call to action. So when I give this prompt, and I used an MBS Highway blog post to do this, is what it's going to come back with. Hey there, future homeowners. Did you know that first-time homebuyers are making a strong comeback? And then it's going to go over the problem, solution, and call to action. This makes it so easy. And then listen, you could take this even a step further. You could take this, copy and paste this into MBS Highway's social studio tool, where it turns your computer screen into a teleprompter. And I mean, I don't want to hear any more excuses about why you're not being consistent on social media. Between AI and the different technologies out there are no more excuses. That is just you not stepping up to the plate. I told you how you were going to get this. All you need to do is text Megan, MEGAN, to 33777. And that will get you all the prompts that we went over today so that you can just copy and paste them. Again, it's just Megan, MEGAN to 33777.
Okay, and just Megan, real quick.
Yes.
You were on the first one we did on this was January 30th of
Yep.
2024. The second one was March 19th. Those are
Perfect.
on YouTube, Mortgage Pros 411. And I just got confirmation from our buddy Jason that he plans to have the rest of the episodes that aren't up there posted in the next few days. So just keep looking back. And if you're subscribing to our YouTube channel, you'll get a prompt saying that it's been posted. So hopefully
Perfect.
There you go.
Love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do either of you speak any other language than English? I've never done this over virtual right now. Do you guys speak any other language than English?
I speak some French. I can understand hola is Spanish.
We
Like
speak
you
California
could have
Spanish.
like a basic
speaks a little-
conversation
We
in
both
French.
have California Spanish. She has a little bit of French. I have a little bit of Russian.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. We're going to try this out. So we're going to use AI right now to help improve the customer experience. I want you to think about the fact that, maybe English is your only language, like it is mine. I should really work on changing that. But, imagine someone comes into the office that speaks Spanish or whatever the case may be. And maybe there's someone in the office that can help and, it makes the whole situation flow a little bit better. But that customer experience is really impacted by you guys not being able to communicate. So what I'm doing right now, and I'm going to do this from my phone, and let me turn off my blur here. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter because you're not really going to see the screen, but anyways. All right. So what we're going to do right now is I have Chatgpt 4. Well, it's the 4.0 version, the 4 Omni version that they just came out with. And I'm going to use this to improve the customer experience. This is what I'm going to do. It's French that you speak?
A little bit.
Okay.
Not
We're just going to go with
not
it.
enough to explain a mortgage, I'll tell you that much.
It's okay. It's okay. We'll have like a basic conversation, but
Okay.
you guys listening know that you would obviously be having the mortgage conversation. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So in this, I'm going to click like the little headphone things because this allows me to don't talk until I tell you to. When you hear English, can you translate it to French? When you hear French, can you translate it to English?
Yes, I can translate between English and French for you. Do you have a specific sentence or text you would like me to translate?
Hi, how are you?
Bonjour, comment ça va?
That's your cue, Audrey.
I'm supposed to answer him? Ça va bien, et tu? I just asked him.
À toi, Audrey. Suis-je censé lui répondre? Ça va bien et tu?
Basically, he's repeating it back to me.
Basically. So, I mean, that makes it a lot easier to improve
That's
that customer
amazing.
experience. It's incredible. And it works
Okay.
in real time.
I could have
wanna
used that
make
in
a
Paris 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I want to make a very important point, which is be careful because we have been cautioned not to bring a 9-year-old to translate what is being said on a mortgage transaction. And so make sure it's like the most basic. It can't, make sure that it's translating correctly before
Yeah.
you use it for sure. But that's
Yes,
crazy.
it has gotten a lot better, I will say. But
Good.
yes, double check. And I have done this now live from stage. And I don't even know I was getting these languages from stage that I didn't even know how to say. So that made it rough. And the last time I did it, he was like, the dialect is off though. But he told it the dialect was off and it switched it. So it is so good now that it can do different dialects.
Wow.
Yeah. So play around with it.
Can you get it to go?
You could do it with Google
different American
Translate.
dialects.
What?
Different American dialects.
You could.
The funny thing with when I'm just back from France, Scotland, England. I had no problem communicating with people in France, even though they didn't speak a lick of English and I didn't speak a lick of French. But we figured it out between Google Translate and stuff like that, and I would just order stuff online or from my screen. But But where I ran into the problem was when I went to Scotland and they were speaking English to me, and I'm like, I haven't a clue what you're saying to me.
The same thing happened to me in Northern Ireland. I needed to translate. I'm not joking. I loved their accent so much. I hope it never changes, but it was so hard to understand. Holy smokes, it was crazy.
Well, that is another way that you guys can use AI.
I love that. I've already downloaded the app myself.
Do it. Yeah, I like it better than Google Translate. It's very in real time. And
yeah, no, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I might start using it when I do Duolingo and have it help me with my
Oh yeah, there was a thing that came out about Duolingo stock like plummeted when it came out with this because people are using it to help teach a language now. And you need to pay for it now. Yeah. So
Really?
I don't know. I do like Duolingo though. They have it, they gamified it, so it makes it fun.
Yeah, it is kind of fun.
Somebody wants the name of the app again.
Oh, Chatgpt.
Yeah.
Yep. So
like
speaking of improving the customer experience, another thing that I am getting really excited about because it has gotten a lot better over the course of even just the past couple months is AI avatars. So what you're looking at right now is my AI avatar, and I think I need to share with sound so that you guys can hear this.
You look cuter in person.
Oh, thank you so much.
Like these avatars. I don't
No, watch this. I hope
right.
this I'm sharing with sound, but here you go. Oop.
Thanks for the introduction. I'm Megan's digital twin, and I want you to know that in this course, you will get acquainted with Chatgpt even if you're an absolute novice. You will experiment with initial prompts and learn various prompting types and strategies through numerous examples, where you'll begin to see the possibilities of using AI platforms like ChatGPT.
I mean, it's gotten really good.
It is good. Okay, explain to me why we would do that instead of just,
doing a video.
Well, so what I envision, we're talking about improving the customer experience here. Think about from the client's perspective. Think about, your point of sale system, right? You have these major milestones that a client reaches. How great would it be where you don't have to film a video every single client, but something like this goes out? Or another instance, so many of you have opted me in to receive happy birthday videos from you. And listen, it's nice. But at the end of the day, I know you're not really thinking of me. I'm plugged into your CRM. You're doing something weird saying happy birthday. You don't even say my name in it. How much better would it be if you type up a script just like you would an email, but you don't have to get behind the camera. You just upload it to your AI thing, but it's a lot more personalized. It's, hey, it's your 1-year anniversary of buying your home. I just wanted to pop in and say hello. Hope you're still enjoying it. Whatever the case may be. That is how I foresee you guys ultimately utilizing this.
You know that if I really love you, I call your voicemail and I sing happy birthday. It's happened to you, Megan.
Right. And you would do that, but would you do that for every single past client that you have had?
No. I'd assume they don't want to hear me sing and go from there.
Yeah, you would do that because you're my auntie Audrey. Okay. So there's a difference. And if I get an AI video from you, I'm not accepting it and I'm going to give you a call anyway. So,
exactly.
But it's a different relationship, At the end of the day, though, if you use AI to help you make all those other videos, now you have more time to call me, Audrey.
Exactly. And I will.
Yes. So let's get into the nitty gritty of it, because what I am about to teach you guys right now, once I learned it, made me a lot more comfortable in utilizing platforms like ChatGPT. And that is the anatomy of a prompt. So what is the prompt? The prompt is simply a set of instructions or guidelines that we are giving the large language model. For example, write an email for everyone that attended my open house last weekend, right? That would be a prompt.
Yeah. And a little advice, and I picked this up from our last show with you.
Yeah.
Pretend you're writing these instructions to a second grader.
Yes, that can be very helpful. Yeah. Also, when you're getting started with
the results of a second grader, and a lot of times, because
yes, until you master the prompt.
Yes.
Once you learn how to master the prompt and correctly communicate your instructions, you're going to get better output. So that's the goal here today. There are different prompt types. So there's questions, right? A question would be, what are some common questions that first-time homebuyers have? There's statement prompts. This is where, I'm interested in learning more about what drives mortgage rates. And then we have the sequence of instructions. That's kind of like that multi-step prompt that I shared with you when we did the Chatgpt and Canva to create the marketing content. So there's different types, but there's always going to be these 6 different elements when it comes to crafting a prompt. Now, we're going to only have time today to go over the first 2, but I will share with you how you can learn more about the rest of them as well. But elements that we have to have in the prompt is a context or a mask and the task definition. You have to have those in every single prompt to get a good output. And then there are other things that you can add. You can add things like an example. That's like that Canva one, or not the Canva, the video script one, where I kind of gave it, I'd like it to have a hook, problem, solution, call to action, right? That was an example to get me a good output that I was looking for. Expected behavior, what is considered good, and the expected steps. So let's dive into the first 2. Again, these are requirements on every single prompt that you're going to have. So the first one is the context. This is essentially the background setting. It's the mask that you want the AI platform to wear. An example of this is act as a loan officer who is funny and their primary goal is getting more applications, whatever the case may be, right? If you just fill this out, you will have everything that you need as far as that context portion is involved. Here's an example here. Let me get this toolbar out of the way. Act as a loan officer, right? That's our mask. This is our background, our context. You're approachable, professional, and educated. And then there's the goal. What are we trying to achieve? The main objective is to close as many loans as possible. Okay, now we're telling it to write a follow-up email for those that attended an open house. Great, and it's going to utilize it. This second portion, this write the follow-up email, that is the second mandatory portion of a prompt, which is the task definition. That is the actual question or task that you want the AI to perform. Example, write an email. Okay, so we have to have those in every single prompt. Now, there's also different task categories, right? We can ask it to explain something. Can you describe something? Can you write this email? Can you create this marketing campaign? Can you rewrite this in, a funnier tone? Can you translate this? Can you summarize this? I use the summarize one a lot. Can you role play, right? Maybe you're brand new to the industry and you want to role play talking to agents, right? Predict, okay, using that past information, what, can you tell me, what would you predict would happen in this scenario? Or, can you advise me in this situation? Now, I told you that there are limits, and these pictures that I have right here are not actually associated with ChatGPT. These are associated with Google's Gemini, but they hit major headlines where, people were asking, how do I keep cheese on a pizza? And they were saying, well, use edible glue. And you know what? If you're not feeling that great, you're a little depressed, just go ahead and eat rocks. Right. And it was doing this because you have to understand how these AI platforms work. They don't know when they're lying. They are given a massive set of data, right? Everything under the sun when it comes, anything that's online is in its knowledge base. Okay. So it didn't know that it was lying and taking things that, were not appropriate. It doesn't understand meaning. When I told you in the beginning that, it can do human-like things like read body language and tell us if we're happy or sad or stressed or whatever the case may be. Listen, it's not empathetic like us. It's not looking at you being like, oh, you feel sad because that person's so sad, right? No, all it is it's saying, okay, the mouth is tilted up, the eyes are tilted kind of up, so that's happy. Or it's tilted a little down, sad, right? It doesn't know. It doesn't have that empathy. And it might produce a lot of incorrect information in light of all of this. And so it is really important to understand all of this. If you were to take the example before about summarizing an article or turning it into a video script, but you don't read the article to begin with, okay, you can't do that. If you're going to have it write an email for you and you're just going to copy and paste that, you can't do that. You have to double check these things and you have to train these platforms over time. Now, there are differences. Many of you went and downloaded Chat GPT right now. There are differences out there. There's basically a free version and there's a paid version. Now, everything that we did here today, you can do on that free version, but you're not going to get as good of as an output as you would in the paid version. And if you sign up for the paid version, it's $20 a month and you get the paid version. The other instance where, the paid version comes in handy is all of these platforms, you get tokens. Okay. And if the prompt is write me an email, you can think of that as 4 tokens and you get a limit of tokens that you can use. Now, on the free version, you obviously get less tokens than on the paid version. And for a lot of the stuff that we're doing today, you don't have to worry about hitting your token limit. But when it comes to, building out marketing plans or, uploading, I don't know, just uploading all the information, the guidelines that maybe you want to be able to quickly ask questions to and reference. That's when the token stuff is really going to matter. But that is why it's so important for you to understand how to craft the perfect prompt. When I started with ChatGPT, I was like, this shit is kind of scary. It's going to take over the world. I better be polite. I was saying my please and my thank yous, just in case it came back to haunt me. Well, you know what? It doesn't matter. It's using up tokens. I cut that out now. I don't say please or thank you. I'm very demanding.
Wow.
I know.
Hang on. Okay, hang on. A couple things. First of all,
yes.
I'm in the App Store. And
perfect.
I understand why they were asking which one, because there are a bunch of them. So there's a green little, almost looks like an Irish little thing, crest. Anyway, there's a black one. There's a chat. Anyway, which one is it? Show us the.
It's trying to, but it's too.
Which one are we supposed to?
I would. Oh, just from the App Store. That's what you're looking at.
Yes.
It looks like a Wii.
It looks like. Let me find it on my phone.
A 6-point
It
Wii.
looks like. Yeah. Can you see that?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Oh no, yours will.
Oh, yours is
that's
okay.
it. Same one.
Nope. Yeah. So 2 that are look. Oh, you can't see mine. Can you see mine? Yeah, you can see mine. See that? There's 2 black ones.
I can't read what they say though.
Okay. Anyway, little confusing. One says chat bot 40 AI chat. One says chat on. Those are the ones that have black backgrounds. And then the green ones are a little different. So anyway.
Let me just
they both say they're powered by Chatgpt. 4.0.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It should look the way that one looked.
Okay.
There's a lot of them out there, but just look for the black and white ones.
So we can move it along. So
yeah. Oh, I have a link in here too.
Meg and I are going to figure it out, and then just let me know if you need to know what the hell it is. So.
Well, you know what? I am going to have a little sales pitch at the end of this too for my course. I show you guys that we start from the beginning. We start by creating your Chat GPT account. So like if you need help in that regard, you can follow along with me because we do it together.
All right.
So basically though, at the end of the day, the real danger is not that computers will begin to think like men, but that men will begin to think like computers. When it comes to utilizing this technology, don't let it make you lazy. Remember that it is a tool in your toolbox. And I use ChatGPT ultimately at the end of the day, not just to help with my marketing, not just to help, create content, summarize articles, create video scripts. I use it to be a better human. And I really want you to start utilizing, now that you've downloaded ChatGPT, don't Google things anymore. And in fact, I was just reading this statistic today. What was it? Nearly 30% of Rocket Mortgage applications came from a Google search. And they are changing things up to where these GPTs are going to be associated with searching. So just make the jump now. Anything that you would Google, don't Google. Go through ChatGPT. Okay? And you can use it again to become a better human. So in this instance, write me a 40-minute workout. I want to focus on shoulders. This is what I'm looking for. If you have an injury, you can put that injury in there and it's going to spit out a workout for you to do. I use this every time I don't want to think. I also use it to help me when it comes to, my dietary restrictions. There was a time period I wasn't eating dairy or gluten for a while. Okay. I went to the fridge. This is what I have. This is what I want. Can you help me come up with something? And it will. It can help you plan date nights. It can help. I'm working on it right now to help me plan my trip to Greece with my girlfriend. Where are the ferries? What's the best way? Thank goodness for that. It is making me feel a lot more secure in how we are going to ultimately get around and what we're going to go visit and see. And let's remember this Robert Greene quote: "The future belongs to those who learn more skills and combine them in creative ways." We have the power right now to not be behind when it comes to utilizing and learning these AI platforms. You don't want to be like my mom and how she is with social media, okay? Being like, I don't know how to make a post. You don't want to be that person. And I'm here to tell you that if you are going to be in this industry for the next 5 years, you're going to need to learn how to utilize this, or you will ultimately be behind.
Okay,
and that's why I'm helping you guys out.
Okay, hang on. Before we go there, I
Yes.
just want to address. So Catherine had posted a message. It says, "This seems like a full-time job just to do marketing, and I still have to do my regular work. Very frustrated with this. Supposed to help, but seems like a lot more work. Clients still wanted the real me to talk to them, not an avatar."
100%.
And I just want to address
100%.
this because I get that 100. I totally agree. Like I know that for me, I'm not going to send an avatar. I'm not. It's not my thing. It doesn't work for me. For some people it will, for some people it won't. You take the parts of this, break it into little tiny pieces, and you take the parts, start small, that work for you. So maybe you just do your to-do list. Maybe you do a recipe. Maybe you put together your, the social media posts that you're going to do, and maybe you're going to do one a week for the next month. Maybe you're just going to have 4, whatever. So break it, just like anything in our lives. We take something big and we break it into tiny little bits so it's palatable. I'm going to the gym. I'm not going to go to the gym the first time and work out for 2 hours.
No.
Maybe the trainer says I should, but I know that's baloney, because if I have to go for 2 hours, I'm never going. So if I tell
You're not
myself
coming back, you mean?
I'm going to go, but I'm going to go for a minimum of 10 minutes.
Yes. And I love the thing about picking one thing. So for me, I felt the same way when I first started with this AI stuff. I was like, this is so overwhelming. There's so much to learn. It's constantly changing. How the heck, on top of my full-time job, am I supposed to stay updated with what is happening in the AI world? Right. But my first thing was, I have the podcast. And when it came to the podcast, it was like, okay, well, it's not enough just to come out with the podcast. Now you have to put it up on YouTube. You have to create the micro content that's going to go on the Instagram page. And it would take forever. We would be doing a live webinar and forget about it. The rest of my entire afternoon would be sitting there editing it, uploading it to YouTube, transcribing it, pulling quotes, then going to Canva and creating the static content. I hated it. I love sitting down, interviewing people and talking to people, but all that stuff, no. But the problem was I didn't have anyone to do that work for me. So I turned to AI to do that. And I use this thing called Opus Clip, which I think we talked about in one of the past ones, where you upload the entire podcast episode. Yeah. And it breaks it down into micro content for you in Reels format so that you don't have to do it. Now, could it maybe have been a little bit better, me going through and picking the exact timestamps and all of that? Sure. But now I was able to get everything done that would take me the entire rest of the afternoon and get it done within half an hour. And I didn't like doing that job anyways. So start with the tasks that you don't really like doing anyways. The whole point of AI, and I didn't do my job here very well, because the main goal of this entire presentation was for you to leave here feeling more empowered when it comes to AI. But I'm telling you, if you just pick something small and it begins to save you time, you're going to start to see the power of it.
So Audrey and I did it because when we created, Mortgage Post 101, we needed a mission statement and we'd been putting it off and we didn't want to do it. And so finally it was like, wait a minute, let's try using Chatgpt. In 3 minutes, we had the best mission statement ever. It was like, holy God, how did they even know that that's exactly? I mean, we had to do a couple little minor edits to it, little tweaks. Like 3 minutes later, we were done. And I've written like mission statements with the charity groups and stuff, and it takes months and months and months of going back and forth, and like 3 minutes done.
So, and again, so just to recap, go back to January 20 January 30th, 2024, and March 19th, 2024. And those, those were the, on our Mortgage Pros 411 YouTube channel. Those were really
Yes.
great step by step for real basic stuff with ChatGPT. One of the most important takeaways for me that has stuck with me big time is it is not just what you're telling it to do, it's what you're telling it not to do. So
Yep.
you put in the prompt, okay, you know, blah, 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 and then stop, don't do anything yet. And then, you know, like you walked us through that. It was so great and so valuable. So go back to that. And again, like sometimes we hear AI and we just get overwhelmed, or we hear
Yes.
some new thing, or the first part that's why listening to this kind of thing over and over again is actually really helpful, because little by little it becomes more familiar. So the fact that it seems overwhelming right now is not surprising, and don't be alarmed and don't just stop. Just know that this is a very normal human reaction, and it will get better. You just have to stick with it. Okay, so Megan, tell us what you have to help make this easier for us.
Yeah, so I created a course for you all where we break down the anatomy of a prompt. So, kind of what we lightly touched on today. And the reason that this is so important is this isn't just going to help you when it comes to ChatGPT. By understanding how to communicate with large language models, the same kind of information is going to translate whether you're using ChatGPT, Gemini, or, you know, another platform comes out that focuses on this or this or this. This is the basic knowledge and understanding that you need to craft the perfect prompt so that you can get the better outputs. So you're not going to have to rely on prompt libraries or, you know, third-party applications. This is the stuff that once I learned it, that overwhelmedness when it comes to AI got turned down a lot.
Nice.
Great.
Yeah, and you guys get $100 off because we are here today. So you just scan this QR code and $69.95, and you guys will get that AI course.
And so it's a course that we walk through on our own, like at our own pace.
Yes, it's at your own pace. It's 5 modules. We go through all the different elements of a prompt, the different types of prompts, and all the examples are, you know, focused towards mortgage professionals and real estate agents.
Great. All right. So I just scan that. So it's, again, I think, guys, we just do this little by little. We have to embrace it in as part of our existence, because it can make things better. I saw a chat earlier, I think from Bob, who said, you know, people are using it to write letters of explanation and other things within the process.
You know what?
So,
That'd be a brilliant way of translating underwrite talk into client talk.
well, I think we're better at that than anything else. I mean, maybe you have trouble with that. That's possible, but anyway. God.
You know, my daughter actually is working with AI. She works for an insurance company, and they're using it for actually figuring out what pricing and engines and how to work it into their pricing engines. So that was quite interesting. We were talking about this yesterday.
My youngest son has an AI internship, and that's his focus in his senior year in college. And it's he starts talking, and I'm telling you, I appreciate this kind of stuff. At least I have some idea what the heck he's talking about. He gets in, trust me, he gets in the weeds very quickly, and I have no idea, but just, it is so important you cannot ignore this. It's very, very relevant in what we're doing these days. So, okay, I'm going to take the last couple of minutes and rip through some of the other economic stuff that's going on, guys. So Case-Shiller and FHA both came out with their May home price indexes, and both of them were solid as a rock. We still have really great appreciation. We're at 5.9% for Case-Shiller. It's down a little from, this was for May, down from April, 6.4%, but it's good. Like, we want appreciation to be in that range. Like, 5% is a great number, I think, year over year. Consumer confidence came in. People are a little less pessimistic about the future, but they're not feeling great about their current situations. That's not good. So just be aware of that and be on the lookout, because refinances are definitely up. We've got, so, and also there, you know, the trigger leads bill we've been talking about for years, literally.
Yep.
So we've got all these little factions in the mortgage industry. They're now all on board with trying to get something passed. It's stalled apparently because someone, I will not
Wait,
say,
wait, wait, wait. Focus on this one. This is a good one. Why is it stalled?
oh my
You
God,
got all the factions okay on it.
well, so
Now, why
that's
is
the
it stalled?
mortgage factions, right? Like, so all these little entities that feel like they have to operate on their own when we should all be pooling our resources, but that's a whole nother subject. Anyway, there's someone in Congress who doesn't like the opt-in versus opt-out portion and the carve out for people who have relationships already with clients. And so it's just stuck. And by the way, this is not an elected official. This is a person.
Aid.
Oh my God. Anyway, it made me crazy when I heard that. I just think it's nuts. So with that being said, GDP first look at Q2, it was expected to be up 2%. It was up 2.8%. That was mostly because they were building the inventories, but anyway, so it was a decent, you know, it's a decent number, but not overheated, which I think is great. New home sales, those are always tricky to look at because you've got to always remember that the numbers that you're seeing in the headlines are probably not the properties that have been built. So when you're looking at new home sales, remember that a lot of it is air, they may or may not even ever be built. So if you look at the actual homes that are available, you've got a 1.98 month supply. That's not a lot. Also wanted to mention refinances. They're up 38% year over year, and they're 40% of the business right now. Meg?
Can we chat about this really quick? I know
Yes,
we're
we
like a little
can.
over on time, but
Yes.
you guys listen. When the Fed comes in and cuts the Fed funds rate, what's going to happen? We're going to see mortgage rates decline. For every 1% decline in rates, we have 5 million more eligible buyers enter the housing market. We're already seeing refinances make up a large portion. Think of, you know, during the past 2 years, there's been 10 million purchase transactions out there. Okay. Do you have the system put into place to capture the refinance boom when it comes to play? If you don't, I just want to share this real quick, if you don't mind. We did come out with a new tool called Home Report. It's essentially, you know, a monthly email that's going to go out to your database. So it's going to pull in all the past transactions that you've done. You opt them in to receive the home report. This is what the email looks like. They click on this. And this is just a great way to stay top of mind with them. And you want to, I don't care if you use this tool or not. I'm just telling you, you need to start thinking right now, how am I going to capture this refinance business? And this tool makes it easy. It shares with them, you know, the forecasted appreciation. It shares with them a savings calculator. And we're going to be building this out more as well to include some equity stuff in here as well. It'll also share with them comps in the neighborhood and give them little home buying tips. And if they like them, it will remember that. So next month, it's going to give them more content that they're more likely to engage with. And you'll see throughout this entire piece, what are we doing? Well, we're redirecting them back to you, right? Because that's ultimately the end goal. And you can see the engagement within your home report feature as well. Who's opening it? Who's not? What are they engaging with? I mean, I just wanted to share that with you really quick, because if you do not have a system or process in place to capture that, you need to work on getting that.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
And give that stat one more time for every 1%.
It comes from NAR, and it's
Right.
for every 1% decline in mortgage rates, 5 million more eligible buyers enter the housing market.
We've talked about that stat on here
Yes.
before. It's a really good one to remember. And with that being said, there's so much that I didn't even get to today because we always have way more than content than we have time. So Megan, you have been wonderful as always. If you will embed your QR code, etc., into the YouTube channel. These are things you can go back. You can go to YouTube. Usually I recommend people go to YouTube and then speed it up and get through it. When we have you on, I'm like, yeah, you'll need to slow that down.
Yeah, slow that down. Yeah, you get
You'll
slow
need to
down.
slow down, and then you can stop and you can pause and you can try and do it. Then you can, anyway. So with all that being said, guys, we will look forward to seeing you next week. Megan, thank you so much for everything.
Have fun
And
at summer camp, Audrey.
Thank you. Yeah, I hope I see you guys there, for goodness sake. And one more time for Tony, I did not hit a poll. I wish I had, because then I could file a claim instead of trying to pay for this stupid bumper thing myself. All right, so have a wonderful week. Go get some loans. There are tons of loans to be done. Go get your share. No excuses. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.